Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Mom Your Own Way. I'm Lily Coco, and today we're talking to Alycia Bond. We already had her on previously when she was pregnant, but didn't know the gender of her baby. So today we're catching up. We're going to talk about adding siblings on and kind of growing that bigger family and about her gender reveal. So let's get started. Alycia.
Hello.
Hello, my beautiful friend. Again, you are glowing. You look good. You look happy.
Thank you. I am.
I don't know if it's the pregnancy glow or if it's just you genuinely, because you're such a ray of sunshine person.
Oh, thank you.
You are. You are. You know what I was really surprised about is this recent post you posted that maybe somebody was giving you some slack due to your choices of things. Could you elaborate on that? Because I was really surprised. Kind of surprised because people coming after you, that's surprising to me. But then again, people coming after anyone is not even surprising anymore.
Seriously. Yeah, no, 100%. And you know what's interesting is I've always kind of had backlash, but I don't speak out about it. But I feel like being pregnant and having the hormones in me, I was like,
use it.
I'm for it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so, I was raised in a very Christian home. My uncle's a pastor. I went to Awanas every night. I, got baptized 3 times before I was 16. All of these things that I still believe in Jesus, but there's other factors to my spirituality now. And if you're very into the, I hate this word, but cultish style of Christianity, which is only following church, only following what the Bible says, only following exactly what, like that guidance of not having your own mindset, you lose the fact of, wow, there's more to this spirituality than just doing these one things. Yeah. So, as you know, I'm in school for Ayurvedic medicine, which is a 10,000-year-old, it's actually the oldest known history book ever found. So it's older than anything else. It's before Jesus, before Arabic cultures, before anything. It's just this old text. And off this old text, there's a lot of ways of spirituality of living your life. And it doesn't mean that I'm Hindu because it does come from the Indian side of the world. It means that there's different aspects like meditation and energy healing, and everything around us has energy. I'm talking to you right now. There's energy emitting between us. Just different things like that. And knowing that for myself, I've taken different paths of I meditate every day. I do yoga. I do Reiki. I love crystals. I wear them. I believe in their energy. I charge them on full moons. I do tarot card readings. I do all kinds of different stuff that to me is not negative. I've never had a negative factor. If anything, that's helped me more deal with who I am, my spirituality, growth, getting through things. And anyways, I posted a post of a guy, and he was like this, and he was meditating, and it was the energy from beneath him going through and back into him. And it was like, when you surrender to that silence, you'll find peace. And I had some people from my church and some family members decide to write a post on there, a comment that had nothing to do with the post, but what's going on with you? You need Jesus, blah, blah, blah. God is. And I was like, okay, I'm going to reply back to them. And I was very cordial because I'm somebody who believes everybody has right to their own opinion. I'm not going to try to change you, but you shouldn't try to change me either. I'm not doing harm to anybody. So what's the problem? So I just replied back and I said, if you'd like to have this conversation, you may message me, but please don't post stuff like that on my wall because this is my page and I'm showing my profile. So if you could, I respect you. I respect your beliefs. Yeah. And some of my family members, they just didn't respond, but the ladies from church were very nice and they were like, okay, we'll message you from now on. And I'm like, thank you. Well, then, and I'm going to call this out because my is just this person.
Let me get my teacup ready for all this tea. Okay.
Seriously. I know
I'm so excited. Yeah.
So I I'm on the phone with my mom, and I'm on the way to see my shaman. Yes, I see a shaman. I love her. She's amazing. And I'm like, Mom, I'm going to get Reiki, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, I got to talk to you about this Reiki stuff. Like, oh, we'll have that talk another time, though. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So I just go to the Reiki session. And then on my daughter's birthday party day, she was supposed to come and she wasn't able to come. So she called me to see how the birthday party was. And I told her how it was. And then all of a sudden, I brought up a topic that she doesn't believe. And it had to do, and you can believe it or not, I don't care, with how they control the weather.
Okay.
And how they can change it with chemtrails and stuff like that. And my mom was like, I don't believe that. God does everything. God has control of everything. And I'm like, but like, there's proof, but if not, that's okay, Mom. But yeah, God can, like, if they do something, God could do something over it. It could be an overpowering force.
Yeah.
And he goes, I'm just tired of all these beliefs you have and blah, blah, blah. And
was it an explosion? Was it? Oh, and with your mom too. That's so rough.
And that's so common with my mom, which is why I don't mom at all like my mom.
There's that also. Yeah. Hello.
But yeah, she's just not somebody who I could share openly things with. She doesn't accept me. She wants me to be somebody totally different than I am. So it exploded. And so that's when I made that post, because I'm just tired of people not accepting the fact that if somebody has these belief systems and they're, one, not harming anybody, two, trying to spread more joy and light and love and being a better person for themselves, right?
Yeah.
Three, like, I'm not doing anything. My family, my kids are great. Like, it's just, there's so many things that were running through my head. And that's why I had to put them all down. And I had to make that post, because it is so inappropriate for somebody to attack somebody because of their belief systems. Yeah. And I would never, I was telling Justin this, if Brianna told me one day that she was going to go be a Mormon pastor and whatever, and I would say, okay, like, I don't believe that. I love you. I support you. Yeah. Like, that's just something maybe we won't talk about, or you can like share the things with me, but maybe if that's going to bring emotions up, we'll just like,
or maybe you could learn something. Maybe she learned something that once she introduces it to you, be like, oh, I get it. It's still not my path, but oh my gosh, I'm so happy that you have found happiness in that. And that is awesome.
100%. So yeah, that's kind of what that was about.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I struggle with, because I believe in God. I struggle when people, speak about Christianity and loving people and, loving people as God loved them. But then when it comes to the differences, that's when they're like, well, then I don't love you. Now you are my enemy and you're not a real human being. It's like, well, how can you only like me when I agree with you, but hate me when I have a different thought? Yeah. The other thing is with the weather, it's like, well, if you believe God can heal all things, do you not believe that, like, medicine can also heal things? Because there are different ways of doing different things. So yes, God can do the weather, but people with our technology today, if you think we've gone to the moon and done all this stuff, like, don't you think we have other technology do other things? Like, we're creating a metaverse where people can now live in this fake world, and it's happening and it's real and it's growing exponentially. So like the technology we have and like governments have that we don't know about, like technically our phone 13 Max is nothing but a tracking device, and compared to what they actually have, it's literally like a toy phone. Like, it doesn't illustrate what we actually have. We're so excited about it because it's better than the one before. But what they actually have knowledge to is completely other thing.
100%.
Another thing I just want to quickly comment on is I struggled with the whole, why is Christianity in some certain areas so strict and cultish? So why is that happening? And it took me a second to kind of understand, once I found out more about Amish culture, which at first I was like, that's silly. But then you start paying more attention to it. And you're like, oh, you guys are growing your own ways. You're building your own things. You're kind of doing it in the old way time. And the reason they like don't allow other things is because once you kind of like, if you start finding out truth about things, once you find one thing, the other stuff doesn't make sense anymore. And so the whole thing starts to crumble. And so similarly, once you once you find out this one other thing, the rest of it kind of falls apart. And I think it goes to religions or cultures or, governments. Like they try to have not necessarily a hold on you, but sort of. It's like, this is the bubble, kind of like Facebook, they kind of put you in this bubble where it's like, these are the opinions you will see. And this is what we want you to see. But this is in bigger other spectrum. So it's like, we want you to stay within this, and everything else that you hear or might think of, we're going to say it's a lie, a conspiracy theory, whatever. Like there's so many names for it. But as long as it doesn't go with the original teachings, because once you find that one needle that pokes the whole bubble, everything else kind of starts to fall apart. And that's when whoever's in charge, whoever's doing the thing, they lose their control. And it's the whole thing's about control. Because if you have control, you can make people do work for you, probably make money, it goes on and on. But that kind of made me understand through Amish ways. So it's like, oh, it's kind of cool being Amish, because the reason they don't allow technology and all of that, because it's like, once you find out, you start getting into your ego with the social media. You start separating yourself from the family, and they try, they want to secure the family unit. And all of these new technology things, these new things to explore, it's all about separating the family unit and getting mom into the mom force. And so they're not staying home with the kids and trying to do the aggressive hospital births, and separating that bond time with mom and baby. It's all about breaking that family units. How can we get moms to the work? How can we separate the mom from the baby? This new article about let's give our babies to the government. Like, it's just trying to separate. I know. What? Right?
I know what he brought up.
What?
It is. It's all segregation. And the interesting thing is like, I am somebody who learns. I love to learn. I'm always studying. I'm always reading. I'm in school. I'm doing stuff. I'm just like, let's go get all the information we can.
Yeah.
And it's like that saying that's old, Hippocrates, is like, knowledge is power. Knowledge is power, because the more you find out, the less you're going to fall into that lined up system that people think you should be in, right? That requirement.
Yeah.
It's interesting, but I'm still me.
As you should be. Another thing I was going to mention is this whole idea of, so I believe words are spells, spelling, and what we say matters, and how we say it absolutely matters. But there's this different weight we sometimes put on words, where now people get easily offended by certain words or all of this. And so it's kind of a tricky line to walk. But when I think about that post you made, so it's, this energy flowing in, and it's about, what did it say? What were the words?
Oh, on the post?
Yeah.
Oh, the one that first triggered was, it said, surrender yourself to silence and you'll finally find peace.
So if you just write Christianity over it, and now instead of meditation, it becomes surrender yourself to God, it still makes sense. So you can see it's just putting this label on it that some people get triggered because it doesn't align with what they've always believed. But the idea is the same. And when you look at it, like, we all kind of believe in God. Some people call it universe, some call it Allah, some call it moons, whatever. But like, you pray to something. So meditation is prayer, or prayer is meditation, but it's about looking within, sitting and surrendering yourself within. And whether it helps to pray to somebody and you call it God, or you repeat a mantra, which is again a prayer, like it's just different words, but people get triggered when it's not something that we've grown up to know, I guess, when something unfamiliar.
Yes. Yeah.
It's a larger conversation, but it's so hard to navigate sometimes because I totally get both.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, 100%. 100%. And then that's the hard part too for me, because I think there's truth within almost every faith. Obviously some things are like, oh, and some things are like, yeah. But there's truth within everything. And all that matters is that God is like, God is the Almighty God. There's like, He created us, here we are. But your little beliefs and your minor systems in between, doesn't matter. We're all still human beings here.
Yeah. There's two theories I want to go over with you. But one I heard is like, what if, because technically now we're talking if like planet Earth dies, we send somebody over to Mars in a ship and they start repopulating the planet. So what if technically that already has happened? So somebody actually came to Earth, repopulated the planet. We call them Adam and Eve, and whoever actually sent is God. And so that's what we already did. So technically we're already living in this future we're suggesting. So that's an idea I heard that I was like, oh, it's kind of interesting.
That's interesting. It kind of
Yeah.
makes you like,
Yeah. And then and then it's like the ark, Noah's Ark is actually like a spaceship that has traveled, and that's
interesting.
how things have happened.
Yeah.
And then it starts questioning the evolution of things, because like, well, if the monkeys changed into us, why aren't the monkeys that are currently monkeys changing into us? They're still monkeys. So where did that all happen? So there's this whole thing. Another theory. Yeah. Another theory that I found, I heard that I thought was like, whoa, that's tricky. So if you believe in reincarnation, which is similar to like God, if you go to heaven, then he kind of sends souls, but the whole thing. So if we are reborn and are gifted in being born more closer to God each and every time. Like the harder you work on earth, the more energy you put in, the better your next life is going to be. And so each time you are reborn, you are actually a closer copy of yourself, but almost closer to God until maybe you become God. And so aren't we all in our own self kind of, so we are all one because we're in different areas of that path, yet we're each climbing that until each one of us is a different version of ourselves becomes God. So we are indeed our own God. And that's why we can not like manifest things. Like when you think about things, they align with that because you are indeed in control of your own destiny.
Yeah. Okay. That's an interesting way to look at it too. Yeah.
So those two things I heard of when I was like, I don't know what's real anymore. I just
Take it step by step.
Yeah. And then you talk about those things and you almost kind of have to pick. You're like, I just need to stay humble. I need to pick something that I can relate with. And whether it's meditation or yoga or Christianity or none of it, you just kind of pick something because it almost makes you feel safe. This is something that you can explain to yourself, your heart, and your family. And we kind of stick to it because if I was to actually sit and try to explore all these ideas, I would go crazy. I don't, because you start seeing all these evidence and then it starts questioning each other and you're like, I don't know what's real. Nothing's real. It's like, am I real? I can't tell.
It's true though.
Yeah.
Something that fits you, that you feel is good for you.
Yeah.
Right? Is the right path for you.
But that's how it should be. And I don't love people getting so mad, especially if it doesn't affect their lifestyle in any way. So whatever choices you are making, it doesn't seem like it's negatively impacting them. I'm sure she's doing it out of love and in her mind, for your mom I'm talking about, but in her mindset, she's thinking, how do I protect my daughter from this other path which may lead her to, not find eternal happiness with God. She's trying to protect you from what we considered hell. And there's this whole idea of it's like if you create your own reality, technically this is right now could be heaven on earth because if you are alive, it's just But I'm sure she's doing it out of love. It's just why does it have to be so aggressive?
Yeah, that tough love, right?
Yeah, and then you also think about it's like, well, if we think about generational wise, their generation, they just did things so differently, and they. There's so many things that they believe that have been kind of proven not have ever happened. And if you were to question those things, like they would come after you with axes, like, because people are like, no, I was there. And you're like, no, you weren't. And it's like, oh, our kids are rebelling and they're saying this stuff that isn't true. And you're just like, you almost have to just swallow it and say, there's nothing I can say. I can print pages of proof and you will still rebuttal because you believe it's so hardcore.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That's why at some point you just have to be like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's tough when it's with your mom because, of course, you always want, it's your mom.
Yes. Which is true. But I also have that relationship of knowing, like, she's not who I can talk to about really things, very shallow level surface relationship. Not emotionally invested, doesn't think anything I say has background or, people could tell her, I've had many clients tell her that they love me and I've changed their lives and they're so what a great person, all these things. She's like, yep. So it's like, there's just no, that type of relationship. There's lots of disconnects, which is why I have not created any of those with my child. We are connected. We just force connection.
I can 100% relate, because that's how I feel very often with my mom. It's like I'm a 3-year-old with her, so things that I do, it just seems to never, I guess, impress her, or seems like it would. We have a joke now with my husband where it's like my mom will send me something or give me this idea. It's like, you should do this, and I'm like, I'm already doing it, or I'm suggesting it to other people. I've taught other people. I have people who come to me now for advice, and it's like she sees me as a little girl, which in that way you kind of see it as a very loving way. Of course, I'm still always her baby, but it's like when it should be that point, at least when you become a mother, that's like, of course I'm still your baby, but like I'm also now a mom, and I'm raising my own kid. And yes, I would love to hear your advice, but I also need to do things on my own.
Yes, 100%. 100%.
Yeah. It's tough.
Yeah, so you have to find that line. But it's just like, you're never going to be the perfect parent, so we're always going to give something to our kid. We can try, but they're always going to get something off of our parenting. It won't be the same thing that we got off of our parents, because we acknowledge, right? Your awareness and consciousness of those things are really strong, but they may get something else off of some habit or trait that you have without even knowing it, and they'll deal with that. And so it's like, you just do the best you can.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, let's talk about.
Let's go.
Let's talk about you. Okay, so we found out the gender.
It's a boy.
Yay! How silly. Tell me about you guys finding out, because I mean, for me, and I'm sure so many others, but like, you told me you were sure you were having a boy, so sure that you sent me all of your baby girl clothes. You were so sure because your husband had a dream that you were going to have a boy as your second kid, and this was a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
At least. So
when I met Justin, he, on our first date, told me we were going to get married and have 2 kids, a boy and a girl. And I was like, I must have liked it because I stayed around, but I was like, whoa. But we had Brianna, so we had our girl, and then I had that dream I told you about in the last podcast.
Oh, yeah. You got warm. You got warm, and like the bed was vibrating, like you felt it through. Yeah.
I watched him come out of me, and I watched him grow into an adult, and he was like, hey, Mom. Like, just, like, what's up? I'm like,
how cool.
Hey.
I got shivers again.
It was crazy. And then I also had the feeling of knowing it was a boy, because not that it's always right, but like, I have to the T. I had the symptoms of a girl: vomiting, sugar, crazy brain, like estrogen, and gaining a lot of weight. And then with this kid, I'm just more tired, and I have more testosterone, of like quick to like anger, or like my patience will like the manly, like, comes out. And then salty or like savory foods. And I have only gained about 20 pounds, which with Brianna at this point, I was probably like 35, 40 almost. And so just a difference in my body. And so we get to the ultrasound, and we're laying there, and it took them an hour and 15 minutes to find his gender. Because
he was hiding?
No, he just doesn't stop. He didn't stop moving.
Wow.
Which makes sense. They've correlated, which is what doctors have told me, is that sometimes when the exhaustion comes, obviously there's other things in play, like, I'm raising a toddler and I'm in school and all these things like come together. But when your child is really active, it's almost like you need to replenish more. Because I definitely eat way more with this kid than I did with Brianna, and I'm way more exhausted. So it's like, it's not like a mental exhaustion, is more like a physical exhaustion. Like, oh my gosh, my body's just tired. Yeah. And so we were sitting there and laying there, and he was just doing this, and he's kicking, and he's punching, and he's extended, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So they're showing us all of his different things, and she's like, I gotta go get a different ultrasound tech, because like whatever your baby is, it's not showing. And I'm sitting there telling her these stories of how I know it's a boy. And Justin's like cracking jokes, because that's all he ever does. So he's cracking jokes like, oh, don't make her feel bad if it's not a boy. And then Brianna's over here saying, baby brother, baby brother. Like, know yet.
I want to hear the technician side of the story. I wish I could talk to her and she'd be like, all right, this family came in and let me tell you.
So bad. And then she goes out and she grabs another lady and she's like, so she'll be finding, your gender and taking pictures, the rest of the pictures and blah, blah, blah. And she's going and she's taking pictures. She's way, you can tell she's way more comfortable.
More experienced.
Yeah, more experienced. She, had definitely been around this type of, that type of family that's like, I know what it is,
Yeah.
So she touches it within, 10 minutes. She goes, okay, you ready to see? And then she's, circling around his, junk. And she's like, well, it's a boy. Congratulations. I'm like, I knew it.
Wow.
Trying not to be like that either, though, because I'm
yeah,
it's a boy, but also
oh, is it? I had no idea. Interesting.
Exactly. So, yeah, we're naming him Atlas Blaze.
Cool name.
Justin,
cool name.
Brianna, so Justin chose Atlas, and it's after that Greek god that carries the world on his shoulders, which I'm like, that's
so strong.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those like Leo and Theodore. It's I can do things. Very masculine, but strong.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool name.
I chose him in Blaze because I was like,
awesome.
We're kind of following the all of our initials have B, A, and J in them. And
okay.
So Brianna's B-A-J, so then this will be A-B-J. Don't quote me on that.
All right.
I'll make fun of him later in life.
Yeah.
And then Justin and I have all the same initials that work together too. So we wanted to kind of keep it that way. So he's like, okay, we got to have a middle name B. And I'm like, well, what's something that you don't really hear, right? What's something that kind of just is different? So then I like the name Blaze. I was like, oh, Blaze, fiery, full life.
I feel like you need to find a graphic designer or an artist who can draw his baby picture with when he enters, to put the weight and the date and the thing and almost draw a character of Atlas carrying this with the blaze, a meteor almost going through and just have that in his room because it's such a definition of his story almost. And it relates even through your pregnancy, you getting hot, you feeling it. There's so many minerals, you get, I'm just picturing this really cool thing.
It would be, I love that idea. I'll definitely have to look into that. I think that would be amazing. We're already going to make his room baseball because Justin was a pitcher through college and then he did semi-professional baseball. And Brianna has his arm, but we're like, she's probably not going to be a baseball player, Justin. So he's like, he'll be a baseball player.
She might be a baseball player. I think now anyone can be anything. You can be a pancake. So she can be a baseball player. Don't let her give up on her dreams.
Oh, I'm not. That's not her dream. Let me show you her dreams I'll send you a video sometime.
Okay.
He just does cartwheels and tumbles and then stands up and sings.
She's going to be in Cirque du Soleil.
Something like that.
And then Atlas is going to pick her up and then she's going to tumble over and you're going to have a circus in your home. So we got a whole bunch of just because we're protected, but we got a bunch of mats that now we have pillows and mattresses and these mats all around. So for any tumbling, it looks like we run a crazy home asylum. I feel like that's what you're going to have is just so they can do their show and do flips and then land and then off the thing and through.
So good.
I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy for you. I mean, this is what you wanted. Your life is just falling into this beautiful, beautiful path. And I'm excited for Brianna to have a brother.
Yes.
How are you dealing with, how is she dealing with having a brother?
So, she already, I don't know if I ever told you, but Justin, from his first marriage, has a son.
Okay.
Ryder, and he is 5. And she's met him, and they've gotten along really well. And they acknowledge that they're brother and sister. And
cute.
He doesn't really realize he's bigger than her. So, when they play, he'll, drag her along and stuff.
Oh my gosh, she's going to get dragged. Now with 2 boys, she's going to be amazing.
She is a strong-headed, stubborn, she's definitely will be okay. She'll be able to hold her own, let me tell you.
I can see her challenging them then. Okay.
Oh, yeah. She's more oh, you want to pick on me? Let's go. And
good.
then be okay, Like,
Good. Yeah.
okay. So she's excited. She
Yeah.
comes to my belly every day and grabs it and goes,
Aw.
baby brother. And she pats it and she'll rub it. And then she'll just randomly, we'll be talking and she'll be like, baby brother? I'm like, yeah, he's in mom's belly. Or she'll hear me be talking to somebody. And then she'll be like, oh, baby brother? And then she'll come over and grab my belly. So she's very
In
intelligent
tune.
with him. Yes.
Yeah.
She knows he's coming.
Wow. You know how they say baby C in, it's not gamma rays. What is it? Theta rays?
Theta.
Theta rays?
Theta. Yes. Yeah.
And so, yeah, and so there's this similar to like your aura, which can change, and you can see the colors of like different emotions and motion in life. And so I'm wondering if she's almost probably picking up on his presence and him being there, and she can kind of calculate that in, and she probably sees so many more things, that we can't see. Kids see so much more.
100%.
It's cool that she already has that relationship with him and says,
Sorry. I had to cough for a second.
uh-oh. Girl, while we're on a podcast, you need to put your mask on in here, okay? Girl. Okay.
I still do it anyways. I'm like, I'm just joking.
Just to mess with some people.
Oh yeah, seriously. So what's interesting that you said that, because Brianna is very in tune, because he is acknowledging without us even trying, like, oh, this is the transition into, it's like almost like, or, I don't even know how to explain it. It's God acknowledging the path that we're supposed to be on. It's just naturally, she's already being like daddy every morning. When wakes up with her, Justin puts her to bed. I go down there in the morning and she's like, daddy, or we've been awake for a couple hours. Daddy, let's go wake daddy up. Because Justin gets to sleep in while I hang out with her till like 9 or 10. And then he gets up and whatever. Yeah. And we have a good transition part there. But she's acknowledging now. She used to be like, mommy, mommy, mommy. Like, I need to be with mommy.
She's like accepting that mommy's going to be a little more busy and preoccupied with another baby. And so she's reaching out. That's amazing. I think that's what a lot of kiddos can struggle with.
Yes. And here's the transition you got to think about. It's like, and I've been like trying to acknowledge and talk to a lot of moms that have multiple kids and just friends and stuff, like, and reading books. But that transition phase, when they see you, is going to be the hardest, because she's going to see me with that kid holding, nuzzling, breastfeeding. The memories of them having that automatically are going to come back. Yeah. And so then it's going to be that, help me with baby, sit by me with baby, just kind of like to help her with it. Yeah. Because I know that right now she's in this place because there's really no tug of, oh, well, mommy wants me, well, I want daddy right now type of thing. Yeah. But it's going to be different when there's another kid physically, right? Because
it's right in front of you.
Yeah.
It's almost like your partner's cheating in front of you, and you're just like, I'm just supposed to watch it? Like,
yeah. That's my
mommy.
mom.
Yeah, that's my mom. That's my breast milk. What are you doing, baby? Get out of here, baby. What's the return policy on this baby? Well, okay, so I'm so happy that she's already kind of like accepting it and growing into that part, but I would be, again, excited to have you back on to see how that transition's going later on and how she's adjusting. And I'm already thinking of myself, I'm like, well, if I was a baby and I saw my mom with someone else, I wouldn't like it. They're just like, all right, well, I'm a grown-up woman who's already a mom, so just, what am I,
But that's good to put yourself in their shoes, Lily.
Yeah, but also, why am I acting like a baby? That's a separate question. I wanted to ask you, are there things that you're maybe discussing with Justin of like, hey, I really liked how we did this with Brianna. Let's make sure we also do it with Atlas. Or are there things you're like, I wish I would have done that differently because it didn't work out the way it was going to, or just anything at all that's coming up already? Or
yeah, so with Brianna, she slept in bed with us till 10 months. And I don't know if it was a first kid thing or just the mom nurturing or the easy boob that can just come out, right? It's like,
how do they find it? How did they find it in the middle of the night? Sometimes she can't find her own toes, and then but when it's this, eyes closed,
yeah,
like it's a vacuum, just like, it knows exactly where it is. I was like, ooh, how? That's when you gotta you just believe in God and the knowledge of it's in you. It's just in you to find your mom. So
yeah. So definitely that we don't want that this time because, Justin and I are both large humans. He's 6'3" and I'm 5'9", and we have a queen size bed, and he won't get a king size. So, I know.
How are you guys fitting on a queen size? We're in a Cali king. My husband's really tall, but we have our dog, which is whatever, but and the baby who sleeps perpendicular, and I'm always off the bed onto this mattress on the floor. But I'm just I don't know how we would do it without the bed. So how are you guys fitting on the queen? You just figured out, I guess, but
we just figured out. Justin said he likes to be close to me at nighttime. Otherwise, the rest of the day he's far away. So
well, that's how the second kid came about. So that's Atlas's story.
That's Atlas's story.
All right, okay. Well, what if you guys flipped and instead of sleeping the long way, you guys went and then your feet were off?
That would be so uncomfortable.
Just trying to make you guys all fit on one bed for no reason, but just for my own, I guess, entertainment.
You're like, that sounds funny. Video that.
Yeah. Yeah. Silly. Okay, so you guys aren't planning on co-sleeping.
We're doing that. I'm just gonna be really strict this time with it, and because acknowledging that Brianna is at the point where we'll be making her bed into a toddler bed soon. I don't want her to come upstairs at some point and babies in bed, just like all of the different things in my head that could happen with a toddler and a kid, right?
That's true.
It's just safer in aspect of Justin not rolling over and being able to sleep well, me not rolling over on her and being able to sleep well, and also Brianna, accidentally coming upstairs and jumping into bed and squishing baby. There's just so many different things that could happen in that factor. So we're not doing that this time. And I know that I'm going to have some sadness. And I know the first couple of weeks, Justin is going to be with Bree a lot. And he said he'll probably sleep on the couch. So I'm going to be like, oh, maybe we'll put baby in bed for a little bit.
I'm going to sneak a little bit. See, this is an affair. You're having a sneaky affair with a baby. So your daughter doesn't see.
But that, and then we talked about with Brianna, we did a lot of, weren't aware of the diaper nastiness of diapers, of Huggies and Pampers.
Yeah.
I found that out when Brianna was probably a couple months old, and I was like, I've been giving my daughter these hormones. She's gonna have ADHD and autism.
Okay, so here's the thing. I'm just gonna interject because we're still unfortunately on diapers. I want to switch, but I'm like, we're almost at potty training, and I know I'm making the poor choice, but I'm like, we're just close at potty training, and I'm just going to finish this, I guess.
Yeah.
But I found a video where it was the employee from a diaper company who said that whenever the stuff that makes it absorbent, when it spills, they would have to put on hazmat suits to clean it up because it was so dangerous to their bodies that the employees who are adults were protected. Yet we are putting this, and now I'm talking about, I'm making a poor decision. I need to stop. But so apparently this absorbent stuff that makes it so absorbent is dangerous for employees to clean up, and they have to wear hazmat suits.
Which is crazy, right?
Because it's so close to their private areas, which is the opening to your whole, it's almost as bad as them ingesting it. I'm talking about it while I'm still making the choice to wear diapers, and I know it, and I'm beating myself up for it. And so,
but there's brands that are okay. Have you studied on it?
We're on Hello Bello right now.
So Hello Bello's not that good.
Okay, what's the?
So there's some toxic materials in it that remind me of the Kristen. What's her name? Kristen Bell? So close. I'm like,
no, get in there. Kristen Bell? She's like their promo girl.
Kristen Bell and her husband. They actually are the owners of the company.
Oh, okay. I had no idea. Okay.
They created that company. So there's some toxic chemical in it that they don't have to say because it's not a part of the, I don't remember the exact chemical.
Okay.
It's not a part of the requirements of the, whoever approves diapers. You have to like throw them
The FDA of diapers.
Yeah, whatever they are.
Okay.
So I did a lot of research on them after I found out the fact, because there's Honest, which is pretty good. So
Okay.
Honest is pretty good.
I didn't like their wipes. I didn't like their baby wash. I didn't like their products, and so I kind of erased them off my grid. But I will listen.
So yep, so they're good. They're a pretty good one. Have you heard of wet wipes?
No, I was thinking dude wipes for wiping your bed, but
Oh my gosh, my last roommate clogged the toilet with
you're not supposed to flush them.
I know.
What the heck?
I says it on the package, and he's still doing it.
What is wrong with people?
I don't know. So they're called wet water wipes.
Okay.
And all they are is water and grapefruit extract. They're 99% water and grapefruit extract. And ever since we switched to those, Brianna's never had any rashes. She's never had any problems. Her butt's always clean, smells good, looks good.
Yay.
Everything. So
what about diapers? Do they have diapers?
Diapers, they don't have diapers.
Oh.
So get this, though. This is going to be mind blown. So Justin is like the number one. I wouldn't say he's so intelligent that sometimes it's annoying, because I'm like, okay, I know you got more like, okay, you know.
You did your research, huh?
But I'm like, I don't. But now I'll listen because this one's important. But that I don't really care about. But I pretend, because that's how you work in your relationship.
Sometimes I pretend I haven't seen a meme that my husband shows me. He's like, look at this. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so funny. But I've already seen it. And I'm like, and that's just marriage.
Exactly. And you just take it.
Yeah. He's like, that's great, honey.
When Justin saw how crazy I was getting about diapers and Brianna was a couple months old, he put it under his like radar, like, oh, I need to research this. So he researched, and he found out that Safeway brand diapers are the number one safest diaper at a costly rate that only has there's 3 things that make it, and none of them are chemicals, none of them are unnatural. I can't remember what the 3 compounds are, but he sent it to me. I'll have to send you the article.
Okay.
But Safeway brand diapers are like the go-to. So we've done those ever since she was like
interesting. So like a generic brand.
A generic brand. And like the Honest are good. The Kirkland brand is like, okay, that's like a decent one. Safeway's the best. What is the other one that I just found?
Have you tried the diaper with a Y? We tried that, and they were just awful and holding stuff. They're supposed to be supernatural and like clean and whatever, but they just didn't do the job. So then I'm like, dang it, I wish you delivered.
Yes, yeah. So that's not a good one.
Yeah.
Probably. There's a new one that Walmart has that I haven't had yet that we're looking into for this one to see too. It's called Sleeply. You heard of that?
Okay. Not yet.
100% all natural. Has a couple ingredients in it. No dyes, no phthalates, no like parabens, no any of that kind of stuff. So that's the next one I'm looking into, because I've been building my baby registry, and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to be honest. And I posted on my baby thing, I said, love you guys, but if you buy me Huggies or Pampers or Loves, I will be returning them. No,
I can't stand Pampers. We got them as gifts, and we tried them, and they just, they're bad, but also they just didn't work. That's when my baby had blowouts, and once we switched, she was fine. But I'm like, it's the way that they're made, and they're marketed so widely that everyone posts about them, and then they're like, oh, my baby's constantly having a blowout, which then turns into wiping all the time. Then it hurts their booty, and then they get a diaper rash, and it's a whole thing. And I'm like, it's this dang diapers.
Yes, seriously.
I'm anti-Pampers. I'm very much anti-Pampers.
Yes. And that's the hard part too, is like finding something too that fits your baby and that works well. Like we had blowouts in the beginning, right? Because we were using Huggies and Pampers and whatever people gave us, because we were soft for a couple months. And then we started buying again, and we did our research. Safer ones we got maybe like if she had like diarrhea, right? We had something would come out, but. No.
I wonder, because we don't have Safeway out here, but you know how there's like same store and they all have like different names, like QVC is whatever, Albertsons is whatever. Yeah. I wonder what Safeway is out here. Maybe a Vons?
Oh, yeah. No, wait. I think a Vons is Fred Meyer.
Oh, maybe. I gotta check. I would be interested to find out what it's out here.
Yeah.
I wish they wouldn't make it so complicated. I don't know the truth about tampons, but we can get into it.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking if tampons are just like this cotton that absorbs, why can't we use that kind of technology for babies?
Yes.
What are we using this? When I watched that video of this employee saying she had to put on a hazmat suit to clean up what is next to our baby's private parts.
Yes. Crazy.
In what world? In what world? We've already gone like no fragrances, no anything, because it like affects their mood, affects their things. There's that's a different conversation. But I mean, we use belly butter to use just like all natural. It works for everything. It's great. I'm so happy that you got it. I'm so happy. I'm so happy it works. You're honestly the first one, because I had just used it for like my pregnancy and it helped me so much. So I was like, oh, like for any pregnant ladies who wants to see this result, great. And then we started using like on my baby and it worked. You used it for your baby and it worked. And then I'm started getting more and more reviews of it working. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what a god. I mean, now it's like our go-to butter for anything, any rash, anything, any burn, whatever. But then it just makes you think of like, it's the natural things that are created on this planet that we should be learning about utilizing, and their benefits and their, you know, how you should use them, instead of, man, that video just really rocked my world. I'm like, hazmat suits. Hazmat suits. Like, if they have to wear hazmat suits, why are we constantly touching it? Not only is it's parents touching it, the babies are touching, everyone's touching it. What's protecting it? That thin tissue? That doesn't make sense.
And they've said they've proven like, oh, autism comes from it, Alzheimer's, ADHD, rashes, of course, like physical things, like having problems down there. Like, it's crazy. So
it's so interesting because I find that because babies are so pure, they're the best way of telling us what we should and should not be using, digesting, because at first, Paisley was having like eczema because I was eating gluten. So at first I was using topical, and then I cut out gluten and stopped. And then it kind of came back again. And I was like, all right, but I put belly butter on. It kind of goes away, but then keeps coming back. So I'm like, what is it? And then I'm like, refined sugar. I looked up and some mom in a natural group was saying sugar. So I cut out sugar, gone. And so I'm like, because she's so pure, anything that I'm digesting or putting in her, her body tells it me right away. But we're so within the culture, it's like, oh, well, your baby has a rash. Here's these things we can put on top of it, instead of looking within and finding what is causing the issue.
Yeah. Everything comes from everything you digest. That's what we're studying.
Or put on.
Because
there's all these creams.
Yes.
Do you guys use baby powder?
We don't use baby powder. We don't use baby oil. We don't use any of that stuff that our parents put on us. The Johnson & Johnson.
Oh my God.
So
we were all showered in that. We were like taking baths and baby powder. I remember I used to babysit and they're like, use baby powder, use this much. And I was like, why am I putting like flour in a diaper and it's going to get chunky? Like, and then it's going to rest there, get wet. Of course you're going to get a diaper rash.
Yes.
Because you're just, it's like a wet sponge. You're letting it grow mold in their diaper. Like, don't have anything in there. You wipe it, you dry it. Yes. You dry it with a towel. So when it's dry, nothing will happen to it. Just change it often and dry it.
Yeah.
But we're just shoving. Oh, it's like, oh, it's got this problem. More product. More product. Oh, it smells bad. Let's put fragrances on it. Oh, now it's this. Yeah. It's got a rash. Another thing on it. It's like the baby's bodies aren't able to handle all that stuff. And then you take them in and they say, you got to get this shot, this medicine. So we're just overloading with things that, and the babies are telling us, this isn't okay. My body's rejecting it.
Yes.
It's just listening and finding what the heck is causing this.
Yes. Yeah. And you know, what's interesting is we didn't get Brianna vaccinated, and we don't plan to at all when she was born. And, this next kid, because I'm doing a home birth this time, which I did.
Oh, that's right. I saw it. And I want to talk about it.
Yeah, and I'm really excited about it. I have a midwife, and she's great, and she's like, I'll do whatever you want to do. So like, however you want to do it, I can do either way. So she asked us the other day at our midwife, she's like, well, do you want the vitamin K and the antifungal eye cream serum? Which Brianna did get those, because we got the antifungal because they say, oh, they go through the vaginal pathway and they need it for their eyes. And I said, okay, well, I don't know. Sure, that sounds fine, right? Because they're pressuring me, and I'm like, okay, let's just do that. And then we did the vitamin K, and she turns bright red and has an automatic allergic reaction. And now she has this patch on her face where it'll go away and it'll come back, and it'll go away and it'll come back, and it'll go away. And it used to be bigger when she was 2 months old. She just developed it all of a sudden. And at first they thought it was food and all of these things. And then they like, oh, we did these food tests. And then they're like, oh, use this topical. No, it's dermatitis. When actually, again, it came from the gut. It's food she eats. It's reactions to certain foods. And then also the weather is huge for her. So the colder seasons, her body has a reaction to the colder seasons. So she needs more topical ointment on her skin.
I've heard of some skin things that when it's drier, which is usually in the colder weather, they tend to inflame a little bit more. But again, it comes from the things that we are digesting.
Yes, it's all from the gut. It's all from the gut. And
it's so tricky.
Anything that you give them when they're born, you're born with over, we're studying this right now in school, you're born with over 30 trillion microbiome.
Wow.
Just now learning about microbiome. Like over the last 10 years, they didn't know anything about it before that. And your microbiome, when you're born with it, it's created in your mom's stomach. And then when you go through the vaginal canal, you then are embedding the microbiome into your body so that you can fight different diseases and bacteria. C-sections are more prone, those kids actually get sick faster. They're more prone to having more problems with viruses and things like that because they're not actually going through the birth canal.
To receive that protection.
You need those bacteria from your mother.
That's your vaccination process, is the exit. That's when you say goodbye as you get the vaccination that you need to prepare for the real world.
Yes. Isn't that crazy? And so that's one thing we're not doing this time either is we're not going to do the eye cream. We're not going to do the vitamin K because it's like only 1% of kids that even have a reaction of blood clotting. That's what vitamin K is supposed to be for. And
I heard it was more like for boys because if you do circumcision or any of that, then there could be the issues. Another person had told me that of course they push all this stuff and they call it vitamin K and suppose whatever. But it's more to help kids deal with the trauma of being pulled out, usually due to an assisted birth. So in a hospital or a C-section or anything like that, when it wasn't fully natural push through because it's so traumatic for them. I was going to mention, I'm sure you've already done research. I talked to two birth boot camp educators. I have 2 podcasts with them. They're amazing. One teaches them, one studied under her, and now teaches her own birth boot camp and doing natural births and doing births at home. And we talked about hospital versus home birth and how at hospital, yes, they have all these things to help you, yet the hospital is the one that creates what they call a cascade of intervention. So they start with Pitocin and they're like, oh, well, we need it so your contractions pick up, but because of that, you get more pain. So that's when they're like, oh, well, you need an epidural. And like, because they did the one thing, more and more start, but it actually starts even before that when they tie you to the bed because this girl had this great way of explaining it. When your ring is stuck on your hand, when to pull it off, you twist the ring and the hand. If you just the hand is stuck, you can't pull it off. So that's what happens when the mom is tied up to the bed and you're pulling the baby out, and it hurts both parties. Where technically you're both supposed to move to make this really gentle kind of movement, and that's what home birth allows. Is this you're moving and the baby's moving, and you can feel it because you're not with epidural and you're not with Pitocin, so you can feel exactly where they're at. You can kind of concentrate and visualize them going through this tunnel, and you're like battling it through because you're like, we're in this together. You're gonna go and I'm gonna move left, you're gonna move right, and it's this teamwork and you're working it out. And it's supposed to be, I'm talking from what I've heard, it's supposed to be the really smooth transition. And what makes it less painful is that you're working together and it's not somebody just yanking something out of you that you're not ready for because your contractions have now been dulled due to the medicine, and so you can't communicate with your own body. So you're going at a doctor's command versus your body's command, which will tell you when you're ready. So I'm super excited about your home birth, and I can't wait to hear about it. So again, I'd love to have you back on. But if you have time, check out those 2 podcasts because if you're interested in home births, they were super cool to learn about. And I mean, you're already set. You already know you're gonna do home birth, but it was just really eye opening to see, like,
Yeah.
whoa,
You don't even really
whoa,
acknowledge it until you're like, wow, I can just move with my baby and I can be comfy in my home and I can lay in my
yeah,
bed and have contractions and I can sit in the tub with the water and just be like,
yeah,
oh, and Justin can massage my back and the baby will just slide out and it'll be like I can grab the
yeah.
baby as it comes. You know, there's like so many different techniques of
Yeah, the
it.
squatting or like the cow or
Yeah,
whatever, where you make it easier for the
yeah,
baby instead of making it easier for the doctor,
yes,
being with your legs wide open for them to pull it out. Yeah,
yes,
for
not
for the
that.
hospital thing, it's like, let's make it easy for the doctor so they can get in, get out, get on to the next thing,
Yes,
versus actually focusing on what your baby and your body need at that moment, which is such a
yeah,
different approach and what it should be, in my opinion.
yeah, yeah, definitely. So it'll be a good experience. My midwife has done over 500 births and she's been a midwife for 20 years. And
Oh
so
my
she
God.
has lots of experience. And she is,
Wow.
when we were talking the other day, she was like, if you want to catch the baby, you can. If you feel like, something's not right down there and you want me to help you, I can. But otherwise, like, it's all you, girl. You can do whatever you want. We'll just be there to help guide you and to, if you have something you don't know what to do and you're just too much in your head and you do need us to do physical stuff. She's like, it's just kind of, we're there to help guide you, make sure the baby comes out safe. Everything's a natural process. Like, she literally told me, she's like, make sure you have 2 cookie sheets, one for the baby to go on when it comes out and one for your tools, the tools to go on.
Wow.
And I'm like, cool. Like, that's really interesting. Like,
Yeah.
she's like, we cut the umbilical cord, but you can do what's called I forgot the exact name of it, but where the blood fully, because at the hospital it's kind
Oh,
of
the
like,
extended.
yeah, the extended release, not the one where it's like 3 days long, which is
No,
crazy.
no, but it should be at least 7 minutes. Where in the hospital they cut it off
Yeah,
immediately, but
yeah,
that cuts off 70% of the blood that they actually need to
yeah,
complete the process. Like,
yes,
they need the rest of that blood. I mean, your placenta, it grows all the nutrients in them, and it's like you're cutting off that supply and so
yeah,
quickly, and they still need it. They need that, the vitamins, the minerals, the vaccination, the natural
yeah,
vaccination.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Pretty crazy. And
so
one thing
it's
I'm not doing, or I'm doing this time, which I did last time, which is going to get some people riled up because Justin's like, I don't know about this. And he's like, is that even vegan? I'm going to encapsulate my placenta.
it's supposed to be so good for you.
That's what I've read a lot. And I acknowledge, like, I didn't have postpartum depression last time, but the other aspects of it, like your energy, the breast milk, your body recovering, all of your organs going back into their place faster, the baby feeling the endorphins through the breast milk from the placenta, just like all of these crazy things. So that'll be a different experience too, because they're
Yeah.
literally will take it and stick it in my freezer till the placenta lady comes and grabs it.
Mine is still in my freezer, girl.
Is it?
If you come over to my house looking for ice cream, you will find a big jug of placenta.
Or you
Still,
just plant a tree with it?
yeah. Yeah.
That's another cool thing you could do.
I want to kind of eat it though. I know it sounds weird, but like, I know it's so good for you. It just has so many benefits. I don't want to, so it's just sitting there.
My midwife said you can make smoothies out of it. And I'm like, I don't know. She's like, you just blend it up and put some fruit in it.
Man, it's so gross, but I'm like, it's so good for you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's why I'm like, I don't think I could actually do the process myself of encapsulating and dehydrating and
Yeah.
stuff, because it would be too much for me. But
Yeah.
the knowledge of actually having it taken out and knowing that somebody's doing it for me and taking them
It's like a butcher. Like, if you had to butcher your own steaks.
would be sad.
Yeah, but if you're enjoying them, it's a little bit different. Oh, something I was going to recommend if you're interested.
Yeah.
My mom sent me this herbal bath for my recovery for postpartum.
Yeah.
They actually have it on Amazon, so you can put it on your registry. I think it's like $15 a bag, but you get like 3 or 5 baths out of it. It comes with a little tea bag, and it comes with all of these herbs that help you. If you have hemorrhoids, it helps reduce those. It helps everything kind of close up and heal. It's super good if you take a bath with your baby in it because it helps them heal as well. But it'll help your heal downstairs. It's the only thing that helped me. We ended up getting 2 packs. Put 3 or 4 on your registry.
Yeah.
But it comes with a tea bag. You put like however scoop you want. I boiled it in a big pot so I can get more brew out of it. And then I would drop that big pot into the bath and then fill up with the rest hot water. So I made like a big tub of tea with it.
Yeah.
And I took a while to start taking baths. I took like 2 weeks. I should have done it a lot earlier.
Yeah. It's okay, man.
Yeah. But once I started taking those baths, I mean, after 30 minutes in it, I was already feeling better. I took them 3 times a week. Within a week, I was like ready to go. I felt good. I felt ready. Everything seemed to be closing up. I felt so much better. I had some sort of, not a rash, but something wasn't going right. It was painful. We went in, whatever. And that helped me treat it. Like, these herbs are magical. So if you want that herbal bath tea, I'll send it to you because give your birth in it. It's so, like, you'll read all the stuff in it. I don't want to do it misjustice by misquoting it, but it's just got all the good plants. And you're like, oh my gosh, how do I bathe in this all the time? I wish it wasn't. I mean, 15 for a pack doesn't sound too bad, but I want to bathe in it all the time. So it would be really expensive. Yeah. But if you can get a whole bunch of them, I would say even like, I mean, check with your midwife, but maybe you could even give birth in it. It's just supposed to be like healing all around. Read about it. They have like little teas too. You can actually drink for like breast milk and calming down. It's all natural. And I'll send you the Amazon link, but you can follow their like actual website where they have all the info. And it's just, I think you would like it. I was a big fan. It's all the goods.
Okay, awesome. That sounds great, Lily. I would love that.
Yeah.
I would love that, girl. Yeah, so that's probably like, I would say like the key things that were really changing. And then another thing, because we're trying to plan our wedding right now, and we want it to next year, in June next year. So the Atlas is due in the beginning of June, like the first week of June. And so that's a year of my body recovering and also my mind and everything. Yeah. And I breastfed Brianna for 16 months. And it was a lot, and I probably could have kept going because my boobs were full and Brianna was happy and she didn't want to stop. But for me, I held on to my baby weight with her instead of the losing it, and that's hard for me because I've just always been super
You're so active. Yeah, you're so active, and you have certain expectation of yourself that you're used to, so I can imagine that.
Yeah, and so at 16 months, I was like, okay, love you, but like I need my body back. I want to be like fully fit again. I want to be able to do everything that I was doing prior. Yeah. And that's okay to feel that way as a mom. Like, it's okay for people to feel that way. And that's what is really big. I try to teach my clients that too. It's like, it's okay. It's not going to hurt. It's not going to hurt them. But for Atlas, I told Justin, I was like, I'm just going to see what happens. But, you know, if for some reason the same thing happens with him, because my body just is that way, then I may cut him off earlier because I have a standard for myself for a wedding, kind of what I would want myself to look like and feel like in my wedding. So, and not to say that I could pump and store and like have him be on bottles of milk, breast milk, because I have a lot of friends that actually do that. They didn't even breastfeed at all, or they breastfed for like 2 weeks, then they just pump their way through there, which is fine too. And so that's something that I'll be doing different this time. And I am somebody who is very like connected emotionally to things. And so with Brianna, I wanted that emotional connection. I wanted to hold her. I wanted to feel oxytocin release, the serotonin, dopamine. I wanted that, like, that full nurturing effect.
It's like a high.
Oh, yeah. It's exactly what it is. It's a high.
It really is. Yeah. We're bonding. I think it's good that you know that. I think it's good that you don't hold yourself, like, guilty or feeling bad. You got to do what's right for you. Yeah. You got to do what's right for you. And if you're taking this bath, I swear to God, you're going to bounce back. You're going to be like, yo, what's in this bath? I don't know what's in it. I felt so good. I'm not sponsored by it or anything. I just, anytime any mom has, I'm like, you gotta try. Yeah. So I need to. I tell every mom, I'm like, you gotta try this bath, especially those that like, it's hard to persuade those who don't believe in the natural things. You know, they want to do the medicine. And I'm like, I don't know how to tell you, but you've got to try it because it just, I was just ready. I was doing jumping jacks. I was doing abs, you know, whatever. I'm just like, it just like feels like it tightens everything up in a healthy way. It's like, just, ooh. And you're like, I'm a new person after this bath. I can do anything. I'm going to send it to you and you have to put like 5 on your registry.
I will. I'm definitely going to now.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody, you heard her. Yeah.
But I need to now look what's into it because I need to know what I'm talking about. I just can't. I mean, you know when you try the natural things and you're like, wow, this is what our nature can do. This is what can be done. Like that's a miracle.
Yes, it's crazy. You don't even acknowledge it. Like in school, because so part of my school's week we're learning about herbs and aromatherapy and different sorts of techniques and what they're good for and how to utilize them, blah blah blah. But like when you are going into labor, or if you want to speed up going into labor, you take pure rose absolute oil, because there's a difference between distilled and absolute, and you rub it in the lining of your vagina. It'll automatically put you into labor.
Wow.
And the muscles and the tissues there naturally expand and contract.
Wow.
And I didn't know that with my last pregnancy. I'm like, wow, I'm just going to start rubbing like rose down in my...
Yeah. You know what I'm wondering? Because when I was pregnant, something I learned about is that you're supposed to be doing, I hope I don't say it wrong, perineum massage.
Oh, yeah,
where you should... Yeah, so it doesn't rip. I wonder if you can use that oil like on your thumb and massage it so then your natural birth, because then you stretch out, it's a muscle, you stretch it out. Yeah. It might help. I mean, you've already done one birth, but still, I would imagine that would be helpful.
Yeah, and I've been looking into that, and I was actually talking to my midwife about that because I was a little worried. Brianna wasn't that big, but from what my dream was and from just acknowledging the
just
size
his name says he's gonna be a big boy.
And he's already almost 2 weeks ahead in size.
Oh wow, okay.
So I'm like, okay, so this kid, and I was like, should I start doing that? And she's like, well, no. So there's something with giving birth in a hot bathtub that your body naturally will open. It's like the moisture and the relaxation of it. Yeah. And if you feel like during it you need something, then she's like, you can get some olive oil or whatever and do it.
Can you put that rose oil in your bath?
That's
I guess then it becomes distilled.
Yeah, so you have to be careful with water because all oils sit at the top of water and they never can penetrate it. The only way they can penetrate is using an aloe vera gel. Yeah, it penetrates the water with oil. So you put the oil in the aloe vera gel, you mix it, and then you throw it in the water, and then it penetrates through the water molecules.
You should do that for your bath.
Yes. So that's something we could do.
Yeah, plus aloe vera is so healing. So I feel like Alice is going to pop out, and you're going to be good to go. You're like, what birth? I'm good to go. Dude, Justin, let's have another one. Here we go. I think, well, try what you will, but I'm a big fan of this rose one, and I'm a big fan of the bath. I think you're going to heal so quickly. You're now my experiment.
Yes, I shall be your experiment.
You're going to do this and sleep sideways on the queen bed, and I will be entertained. Yes.
Lily.
Just kidding. This is how I entertain myself.
Oh, this makes sense why you were an actress. You're like, here I am over here.
Here I am, guys. Here I am. Oh, Lord. All right, my sweet girl. I'm going to go and feed my sweet baby. Yeah. And, yeah, it was so good to talk to you. I'm going to have you on again.
Yes, I would love that.
We can hop on before you give birth if you want to talk about any of those subjects, especially ones we talked about going live. Totally big fan. Yeah. Anything else in general, or also if you are just doing your own mom stuff after your birth, I would love to have you on just to see your process, see where you're at, see how it's going. We're going to now follow your journey. You have become one of the moms, and we're just going to track you and see how you're doing. I think there's so much to learn. You know, you're having now another baby. How are they going to act with one another? How's it dealing with marital? How are you guys all sleeping in the queen bed?
Yeah.
These are the things we need to know. We have questions.
You're so silly. All right, girl.
Okay.
You're making me pee my pants over here.
That's not me. That's Atlas. So. All right, girlfriend. You have a good rest of your Sunday. I'm going to message you about the bath because I'm obsessed. And then we'll just talk soon, okay?
Sounds good. Thanks for having me on again.
Of course, girl.
Bye.
Bye. All right. Thanks, everybody. And we'll see you next time on Mom Your Own Way. Bye.